Hey everyone! Today I'm sharing a story that will make you rethink everything about trust, betrayal, and the perfect revenge. It's about how I found out my wife was cheating with our neighbor and how I made sure she regretted every second of it. Stay till the end. You won't believe how this ends. They say the quiet ones are the most dangerous. I used to laugh at that until I found out my wife was getting too close to our neighbor while I was breaking my back at work. If you think that's bad, wait until you hear how I got my revenge. Buckle up. I was 36, married for 7 years, to a woman I thought was my best friend. Her name was Laura, and she had always been the calm, collected type. Soft-spoken, polite, the kind of woman who made people think she could do no wrong. But as they say, still waters run deep. And oh boy, I had no idea what was lurking beneath. I worked in construction. Long hours, grueling work, sunburnt skin, and sore muscles were my everyday reality. I did it because I wanted us to have a good life, a house we could be proud of, maybe even a family someday. Laura, on the other hand, had a comfortable office job, nothing stressful, nothing that required her to be out late. Or so I thought. For the past few months, something had changed. She started dressing up more, putting on perfume even on days when she was just working from home. She'd get text messages and smile at her phone, then quickly put it face down on the table. She started showering at odd hours, coming to bed later than usual, claiming she was just watching Netflix. I wanted to believe it was nothing, but my gut told me otherwise. Then my friends started noticing it too. One evening, after work, my buddy Chris pulled me aside and said, "Man, I don't want to plant doubts in your head, but something's off with Laura. I see her talking to Dan a lot. Too much. Dan, our friendly, overly helpful neighbor. The guy who always offered to fix things around our house when I was too busy. The guy who always happened to be there when Laura needed a hand with something." I laughed it off, told myself they were just being paranoid. But the seed had been planted, and soon I started seeing the signs for myself. The way Laura would suddenly get defensive when I asked about her day. The way she'd say she was going to bed early but would still be active online hours later. The way she smelled like cologne that wasn't mine. I wasn't ready to believe it. Not yet. But deep down, I already knew the truth. And I knew I needed proof. Doubt is like a parasite. It burrows into your mind and eats away at everything you once believed. And once it takes root, you can't ignore it. I started paying more attention. Laura had a routine, and I knew it well. But suddenly, things didn't add up. She'd leave for a quick grocery run and come back 2 hours later with barely a bag in hand. She claimed she was going to visit her sister, but her car never left the driveway. And then there were the phone calls. Ones she'd take outside in hushed tones, as if the walls had ears. I started keeping track of when Dan was home. The guy worked as a handyman, so he had a flexible schedule. And it just so happened that every time Laura had a long lunch break or got off work early, Dan was mysteriously not at home either. Coincidence? I didn't think so. The final straw was when I came home earlier than usual one Friday. I had planned to surprise Laura, take her out for dinner, rekindle what I thought we still had. Instead, I walked in to find the living room empty, but our bedroom door slightly ajar. My stomach dropped. I felt like I was in one of those nightmares where you know something bad is happening, but your feet won't move fast enough to stop it. I stepped closer, heart pounding, palms sweating, and I heard it. Low murmurs, a quiet laugh, and then a conversation no husband should ever have to overhear behind closed doors. I didn't need to see any more. I turned around, walked back outside, and sat in my truck for what felt like an eternity. I could have stormed in, started a fight, made a scene. But I didn't. I wasn't about to lose my dignity over two people who had already thrown theirs away. Instead, I started planning. Laura thought she was being smart. She thought she had me fooled. But she had no idea what was coming. I spent the next few nights thinking. Not about how much she had hurt me, but about how to make sure she felt the same. I wasn't going to break the law. I wasn't going to do anything that would come back to bite me. But I was going to make her regret every decision that led her to this moment. I started small. I locked her out of our shared accounts, No more access to our savings, no more online shopping sprees, no more expensive salon visits paid with my hard-earned money. She had built her little secret life with my effort, so I made sure it started crumbling. Then I exposed her. I gathered every piece of evidence, screenshots of messages, timestamps of Dan's visits, and the suspicious receipts that didn't add up. I sent it to our mutual friends, to her family, and even to Dan's wife. Let's just say the fallout was immediate and brutal. By the time I was done, she had lost her reputation, her comfort, and the fantasy life she thought she could live without consequences. She tried to beg for forgiveness, but I didn't even acknowledge it. Instead, I walked away, started fresh, and dedicated my life to something meaningful, working with animals. I turned the pain into passion and never looked back. And that, my friends, is how I turned betrayal into the best decision of my life. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments. What would you have done in my situation? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insane real-life stories.